Hi class, here's the video I promised you to talk about this week's paper. You're doing a 6 to 8 page paper and it needs to be in APA format, so I hope you all have your APA manuals, or at least you have the OWL at Purdue website saved so that you can look up the APA for your references and how to format an APA paper. There's examples and there's even templates on the OWL site at Purdue, so those are options for you. And as well as that, the library has an APA template that you can download, so that will help you with formatting. This paper is going to have two sections. One section is going to basically be about power and privilege, and the other section is about influence. The way I want the paper formatted is I do want to see the two sections. So you can decide that if you want to say section 1, power and privilege, as your main header, and then have subheadings for the current basis of power and privilege, how power and privilege can be used, the discussion, the conclusion. And then section 2 can be about influence, and that can be your main heading, which is in the middle centered. And then your left justified headings would be style of influence, analysis, 2 strategies, and future career development. The idea here is that you're going to be reflecting on your power bases, where you get power, where you get privilege, as well as where you want to develop those ideas. And remember, what we talked about in the feedback that I gave many of you for your week 7 feedback is that even though you may feel that you don't have access to power or privilege, sometimes you do without even knowing it. Sometimes your privilege or your power may be seen as a negative thing in certain situations and a positive thing in others, depending on who you're hanging out with, where you are, what the context is. But power and privilege also can be talked about from the standpoint of getting power within a job, getting more formal authority can put you in a position of privilege. Who you know at your work. You may be just a secretary or a administrative assistant, but you may have all the codes for doing the budgeting. You may have banking privileges. You may have all of these different things that people need to come to you to get access to, thus giving you more power than an average person at the company might have. So think about power and privilege in those ways, and think about how you want to ethically develop your power to enhance your career. For example, like, what can you develop about yourself or about your way that you present yourself, and how can you use that in order to develop your career in an ethical way? Obviously, we don't want people doing evil things, starting an empire, that kind of thing. So for the second part, we're talking about styles of influence, and you'll have read about styles of influence in your readings. You're going to talk about your current style of influence, how you influence the people around you, how do you interact with the people around you. Talk about the areas that you do have influence. Where is that? Is it in your family? Is it with your friends? Is it with your coworkers? Again, like if you're an administrative assistant or a manager, how do you influence the people around you to get the things you need to get done? And then the conclusion, thinking again about your future career development. So this paper is really talking about career development as an overall topic, but looking at it from the two different perspectives of influence and power and privilege. Make sure that you are using good quality references here. You don't always have to use academic articles, but if you do use a website, make sure you've watched my video on APA for websites. If the website has an author, then you format it with the author's last name and initial, the year, and the year is probably the copyright date at the bottom of the website. Almost all websites have copyright dates, so make sure that you are finding that date. Then the title of the web page, the name of the website, and then the HTTP address. You say retrieve from and the HTTP address. If there's no author, then the title of the web page goes in the front of the year, and then you have a website name, and then you have the retrieve from. If there's no page title, if you just went to a website and that's all that you see, very rare, it's probably not going to be the case, then it's the website name, the year, retrieved from, and then the web address. These are very important if you're using webs. But you can also find on the APA style guide, you can find how to reference blogs, how to reference Facebook. There's an APA way to reference anything. And if you can't find it, then email me so I can help you with that, because you want to be sure that your APA is correct. Citations are always going to be just the author's last name and the year, unless you're doing a quote and then you add the page number. If you're quoting a website and there's no pages, then you add the paragraph number. How many paragraphs down from the top is the thing? And instead of doing P period, for page, you do PARA for paragraph, period, and then the paragraph number on the document. That should be good. I can't think of anything else right now, but obviously I'm around. Email me. I'm still in the process of getting settled in, but I did find the power cord for my computer, so I was able to get that back up and running. Thank goodness. I am still grading your presentations, 10-minute presentations, having to watch them a couple of times and then think about how to give feedback. Takes longer than I expected it would. So I'm having those wrapping up soon, I promise. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great weekend.